Welcome back to our channel where we share updates and untold stories about Catherine, Princess of Wales, and her royal family. Today we bring you some news: William and Catherine in tears as King Charles' final move after Camilla's reaction. Power struggles and delayed milestones are reportedly taking place inside the modern royal family. According to a person with expertise in the matter, in the midst of his health concerns, King Charles is experiencing anxiety as a result of the mounting stress around Camilla and the Prince and Princess of Wales and another woman in the royal cycle, a reign that was fraught with unease. There have always been rumors of competition around the monarchy of the United Kingdom. But over the course of the last 2 years, these rumors have become more significant, more precise, and if palace insiders are to be believed, more disruptive than at any other time since the 10,090s. Following Queen Elizabeth's 70-year reign, the succession of Prince Charles in September 2022, which was immediately followed by the investiture of Prince William and Catherine as Prince and Princess of Wales, was intended to provide a sense of continuity in the rule of the United Kingdom. On the contrary, it has caused rifts to appear around titles, responsibilities, and long-awaited accomplishments. At the center of the maelstrom is Queen Camilla, who was formerly ridiculed as the other woman. Although she has now ascended to the throne, she is still trying to protect her position inside the firm, as well as the place of her Parkerb's family, according to some. On the other side of the aisle are the well-liked and forward-thinking Wales, whose star power unsettles a ruler and consort who are eager to enjoy the authority they have waited a lifetime to exercise. Court watchers describe a formula for the most explosive royal combination in a generation when they add the uncompromising adherence to etiquette that Princess Anne has, the stealthy ascension of Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, and the precarious health of the king. This report examines public records, expert analysis, and a multitude of palace briefings from 2024 to 2025 to determine where the real pressure points are. These pressure points include Camilla's contested title, her stalled push for family recognition, the delayed grant of royal warrants to William and Catherine, and the increasingly delicate question of when the crown should slide toward the next generation and how quickly it should do so. A title and its ghosts are discussed in the first fracture. The first speech that Charles gave as king came to a successful conclusion with the following flourish: "Today I am proud to create him Prince of Wales." It was a matter of common sense for the king to firmly establish the line of succession while the country was in mourning. It was a sobering reminder for Camilla, according to palace sources, that the title that she had previously disavowed out of respect for Diana would now sit radiantly on her daughter-in-law. Camilla never used the title of Princess of Wales when she married Charles in 2005. Instead, she preferred the title of Duchess of Cornwall. She did this partly to plate public sentiment and partly to steer clear of the inevitable comparisons to Diana. The job, on the other hand, was immediately accepted by Catherine, and she has worn it with the same polished assurance that previously made the Kate effect a sensation in the retail industry. Courtiers insist that Camilla extended her congratulations in private, but several senior aides, speaking on background, claimed that they experienced an early flash of irritation. If Catherine inherits Diana's mantle of empathy and glamour, then what happens to Britain's new queen, whose acceptance by the public was already a delicate project? As the spring of 2023 approached, Buckingham Palace unexpectedly removed the word consort from public announcements, recasting Camilla as simply Queen Camilla. This caused the fears to become even more intense. The shift was explained by aides because, according to history, once a king is crowned, his wife becomes the queen. However, many observers assume that ambition drove the change. Only a few short months before her passing, the late Queen Elizabeth had officially outlined Camilla's future status as queen consort. Now, Camilla was eager to seize the full title before memories of that vow went away, Reports also indicate that the speed raised questions within the family. It is said that Anne commented to a trusted confidence that symbols matter, which was a scolding that was subtle but obvious. However, Camilla's supporters argue that she is only following history, citing Queen Mary and Queen Alexandra as examples of people who were historically referred to as queen without the use of a qualifying word. However, appearances are important. A news narrative that the new queen is keen to enjoy every prerogative, however soon it must be seized, was fueled by the fact that the rebranding was completed at record speed. Hidden agendas, including Camilla's children and the benefits she lost, exist. Family, finances, and the fine line that separates private devotion from public subsidies are the aspects that are involved in the second split. Camilla is the mother of 2 adult children, Tom Parker B.S., who writes about cuisine, and Laura Lopez, who is an art curator. Both Tom and Annabelle Elliott have periodically benefited from royal connections, including social press for Tom's novels, interior design contracts for Annabelle Elliott, Camilla's sister, on homes owned by the Dutch of Cornwall, and cameo parts for Camilla's 5 grandkids beneath the coronation canopy. Neither of them has a title, yet they have both benefited from royal connections. William's 2024 reorganization of the duchy's financial situation posed a danger to that peaceful agreement. Within a few short months of assuming possession of the £1 billion estate, the new Duke of Cornwall decided to terminate Elliott's long-standing design retainer and decided that Camilla's private residence, Ray Mill, would no longer be subject to duchy maintenance requirements. Supporters of William point to the concept of modernization, while Camilla's friends refer to it as an insulting audit. Some with knowledge of the situation described the experience as devastating, confirming that Camilla's children would remain marginalized as the Wales tightened their control over royal assets. During the incident, Charles attempted to mitigate the impact by assigning lesser chores to his sister-in-law at Balmoral. Royal Ascot 2024 once again brought this topic to the forefront. Tom and Laura proudly marched behind their mother and the king during a rare demonstration of inclusivity. However, they chose to march on foot, as only working royals have access to the ceremonial carriages. Critics say the appearance was clear. They were welcome at the party but not on stage. Is warrants on ice a quiet veto that's fit for a king? The title of a discussion. The royal warrants are highly sought-after insignia that allow businesses to exhibit the royal arms and serve as tangible representations of prestige within the British court hierarchy. When Queen Elizabeth was in power, there were only 3 people who could issue grants: the Queen herself, the Duke of Edinburgh, and the Prince of Wales. At the time, just as Elizabeth added Charles in 1973, observers predicted that Charles would add William and Catherine shortly after his accession. However, even after 2 years of the new regime, the warrants remain unreleased. The palace has publicly placed responsibility on paperwork. At the time of her passing, thousands of warrants from the Elizabethan period had expired. Charles and Camilla have been reissuing or withdrawing them, strengthening eco-criteria and culling brands that trade on cash rather than quality. The Curters emphasize the need to thoroughly focus on the bureaucratic drudgery before welcoming new grantors. Commentators are able to identify strategy in private. At the beginning of 2024, Camilla bestowed the royal crest onto Anna Valentine, her hairdresser, facialist, and longtime couturier. However, William and Catherine have yet to receive the royal crest. In his book, it is a gift of the sovereign. He just hasn't exercised it. Robert Jobson, who has written biographies of both Charles and William, believes that there is nothing legally that may prevent the king from designating new grantors tomorrow. What is the reason for the delay? According to one theory, Charles is hesitant to relinquish his economic influence to a couple who already possess significant soft power. If Catherine were to get a formal warrant, she would be granted institutional power on top of her influence. Her endorsement has the potential to empty shop shelves overnight. There's also the possibility that the impression of who genuinely runs the business of monarchy may be shifted if warrants were issued at the same time that the king was reducing his public activities due to his cancer treatment. Some advisors believe that it would be more beneficial to first complete Camilla's personal slate and then return to the Wales topic when the news cycle has calmed down. Is the ascension of Princess Catherine a guarantee or a danger? Because of her transformation from a self-conscious royal fiancée to a confident Princess of Wales, Catherine's journey has been the most successful public relations campaign for the monarchy since the Jubilee in 2012. Educated, uncontroversial, and camera-ready, she has become the most bankable asset of the house. She is a mother of three, and talking point analysts compare her to Diana without the controversy. Charles's court is experiencing both a blessing and a headache as a result of his popularity. When attending engagements, the princess exudes a contemporary competence, as seen by her ability to talk about early childhood research one day and welcome international leaders the next. However, she seldom gives her husband the spotlight. Assistants urged that she defer to seniority in a meticulous manner behind the scenes. The speed with which tabloids announce Camilla as Queen Catherine in waiting is something that Camilla's admirers secretly find to be rather irritating. After William and Catherine came late for a Windsor engagement in 2023, Camilla, who was allegedly frustrated, reportedly informed Charles, "We won't wait forever." The comment caused tension to rise. Charles, who is always concerned about being on time, made preparations to wait, but Camilla demanded that the motorcade go. After the Wales had exited the building, the blue lights had already begun to fade away. But Curters tell that both spouses continued to be intensely aware of ranking order, particularly in a year when Catherine's anticipated surgery and Charles's cancer diagnosis caused an unprecedented redistribution of engagements. Neither side officially addressed the event, but Curters believe that both couples continue to be acutely aware of the pecking order, but Kate's circle continues to expand. She would become the first Princess of Wales in more than a century to bestow the insignia, an honor that was previously held by Mary of Teck in 1910, if Charles ultimately does give her warranted powers, as is likely to happen. This fact highlights the reason why Camilla's entourage is so careful to protect every prerogative. The moment Catherine starts to imprint her mark on British trade, a symbolic torch will have been handed. Anne and Sophie are known as the gatekeepers because they maintain the line of succession. Princess Anne, who remains the most diligent royal in terms of engagements, counterbalances this generational dance. She is willing to surrender to rank as seen by her swift reluctance to step ahead of Camilla at a university ceremony in 2024, but she will also use her authority to enforce it. Anne is referred to by the staff as the internal auditor of the family. If a new proposal violates the established norm, you may anticipate a scathing comment and a footnote from the Aquaria of the Princess Royal. At the same time that Anne is enforcing tradition, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, is gradually expanding territory that was previously occupied by the late Queen and Queen Philip. 2023 was the year when Charles paid respect to his parents by promoting Edward and Sophie to the position of the Edinburgh title. Since that time, Sophie has come to inherit Philip's regiment, increased the number of times she has traveled abroad, and in 2025 she assumed the post of patron of the Mothers' Union, which Elizabeth had previously held for 7 decades. It has been claimed that the king considers Sophie to be in safe hands. Yet, there are others who assert that Camilla is concerned about another young lady stealing the spotlight that she has created for herself. These rumors are not true, as shown by Camilla and Sophie's public relationship, which includes them laughing on the balcony at Ascot and riding side by side in the royal carriage. Nevertheless, the positioning of individuals at high-profile events tells its own story. Sophie marched 2 rows behind Camilla and Catherine as they made their way through the parade for the coronation. She is often shown standing shoulder to shoulder with the king in family portraits, although she is seldom seen doing so. Although palace veterans have seen how carefully such differences are controlled, aides present this as a matter of procedure rather than politics. One of the clocks that everyone listens to is Charles's health. The hum of medical uncertainty is there throughout all of these maneuvers as they take place. The revelation made by the king at the beginning of 2024 that he was getting treatment for cancer stunned the whole country and momentarily brought together different groups inside the palace. Staff members claimed that Camilla and William worked together on the same team for a period of many weeks managing cover engagement ROAs during the time that Catherine was recuperating from abdominal surgery. The public observed this ceasefire. However, the king's sickness also brings to light the most important issue that no court can delay. At what point is it appropriate to accelerate the process of generational transfer? Charles, who is 76 years old, is certain that he plans to rule for as long as I must, which is a similar attitude to his mother's mentality of taking responsibility until the very end. Doctors, however, have recommended reducing the amount of heavy travel, and authorities are secretly thinking out potential plans in the event that regency is ever necessary. The 937 Regency Act said that in the event that Charles was found incapable of performing certain sovereign tasks, William would take over those functions and Camilla would be appointed as the formal protector of the king via the council. The possibility of something happening focuses minds and egos. It is said that Camilla is keenly aware of how the narrative may change overnight, from a queen enjoying late-earned grandeur to an interim figure eclipsed by an heir who is 30 years younger. According to the rumors, William is the one who loses patience with the concept of permanent apprenticeship. The sources suggest that all the subplots such as the Warrens' delay, the duchy's restructuring, and the reevaluation of patronage awards are intricately linked to this unending timeline. Whatever comes after this event, such as the Panorama interview, the bombshell about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and the Andrew Epstein litigation, are examples of situations that often bring royal difficulties to the attention of the public. Only through seating designs, leaked stories, and the occasional test day briefing to sympathetic publications do the tensions of today come to light. Otherwise, they remain concealed in private. However, experienced courtiers perceive a significant shift in the current situation. Royal warrants might be given, joint patronages could be proclaimed, and the Parker-Bowles family could be praised as private citizen supporters rather than quasi-royals if Charles's health stabilizes and Camilla softens her aversion to strengthening the Wales. The outcome would be a peaceful transition for the monarchy. In this hypothetical situation, Anne and Sophie continue to be vital. The succession of the next generation of royals, including Princess Charlotte, Princes George and Louis, is gradually moved forward, and the king's reign, albeit being shorter than that of his mother, is recognized for stewardship rather than discord. However, if the ability to issue warrants continues to be postponed, Camilla continues to exert more effort to ensure that her children are seen, or William continues to seek more duchy reforms that reduce Parker B's revenue sources. Then the number of flashpoints will increase. It is possible that the palace media machine will have difficulty maintaining its polished veneer if there is a rapid decline in the king's health, or if, on the other hand, there is a victorious Wales global tour that eclipses their aging royal optics. Renovations are being made to a family-owned business. For now, the public is only able to see smooth surfaces such as smiles on balconies, curtsies that are rehearsed, and charity speeches that are made with a pleasant and friendly tone. Interviews with over a dozen palace staff members, historians, and seasoned journalists revealed a deeper level of contestation. In other words, Titles serve as tools, warrants function as controls, and seating charts serve as hidden indicators of the future hierarchy. Camilla, Queen of England, believes that she has earned every ounce of power that is etched on her coronation chair, and she desires that her family be treated with respect. Despite their loyalty, Prince William and Princess Catherine continue to plan ahead for their modernizing agenda. Feeling frustrated by the bureaucratic barriers that impede their clear next steps, Princess Anne insists on upholding the code, even if it means rejecting new arrivals. Sophie carefully navigates her ascent through the ranks of responsibility, ensuring she never appears to be in competition with anyone else. The history of the Windsor family demonstrates that they are skilled at safeguarding the institution. They have done it in various ways, including staging extremely public family arguments to relieve strain and hammering out our mysticizes in the shade of the garden at Balmoral. Sometimes the path that they decide to take in 2025 may be determined less by personality than by timing. This includes the length of time that Charles's therapy will enable him to work, the speed with which Camilla will feel safe, the degree of patience that William is willing to demonstrate, and the degree to which Catherine is prepared to wait. One thing is unmistakable. The monarchy has entered its most flexible age in living memory after 7 decades of Elizabeth uncertainty during the reign of Elizabeth. The message that is sent by every delayed warrant, every designer who is sidelined, and every motorcade that runs late, conveys information about who genuinely rules the court of King Charles and who will inherit it in the future. Thank you for watching the video. Please let us know your thoughts, and goodbye for now.